Hey guys, welcome back to All Booked Book Reviews. I'm so glad to have you all with me. I say that every time, but I mean it. I really am. And I cannot wait to share this with you. This one was an emotional ride, let me tell you. It's really good. And it is September. So excited it's finally fall. It's awesome. I love the weather so far. We're finally getting rain in Texas, so that's wonderful. So let's not waste any more time and let's get started with the review. Real quick, let me interrupt myself. You want to stay tuned for the end of this video because I do have some news concerning this book, or more specifically, one of the characters from this book. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Unknown by Vanessa Hall is book 1 of the Grace Sufficient series. There's also book 2, which is Unworthy, and book 3, which recently came out in July, is Untold. Unknown was published August 2021. There are 386 pages in the ebook, which is the one I read. There are 27 chapters, so that makes about 14 pages per chapter, give or take. And the typical reading time is 6.5 hours. The genres are Christian fiction, romance, suspense, and we'll throw a mystery in there too. Okay, so I'm going to take a stab at reading the synopsis. Now, forewarned, this story takes place in Russia, which is awesome. I'll get more to that later. However, there are Russian names in this, which I totally commend the author for going above and beyond doing that. That's so awesome. I looked up on YouTube how to pronounce some of these names, and one of them even involves like rolling the tongue, so which I can't do. I tried several times. So I'm going to give it my best shot. I apologize beforehand because I know I'm going to butcher these names, but I am going to give it my best shot. So here we go, the synopsis. He knew there was a cost, he just didn't know how great it'd be. Gabriel Kelly returned to Russia for one reason, to bury his parents. After 10 years in the United States, he hadn't expected to return to his childhood home in the face of tragedy. However, after short days in Moscow, he begins to consider if the same call that cost his parents' lives is now upon him. Sophia Rykov, dreams finally come true and she becomes a principal soloist with the Bolshoi Ballet. One night, though, an old crush walks back into her life, making her wonder if there is more to life than ballet. Gabe Kelly is just as she remembered, just as she longed for, yet religion stands between them. Unknown to Gabe and Sophia, danger lurks closer than either would have guessed. The deaths of Gabe's parents grow more suspicious by the day, and Gabe and Sophia are drawn into the midst of a plot neither can escape. Will obedience to God's call, in spite of their fears and desires, result in a price too steep to bear? Again, I apologize profusely, and yeah. Okay, this is the closest I'm going to get. Rykov. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, yeah, okay, woohoo! So for the actual review part of this, I'm going to be relying heavily on my written review on Goodreads because I recently finished the book, like maybe a few days ago. I wrote my review as soon as possible, that way everything would be fresh still, because I don't know about you guys, but if I go too long, between finishing the book and actually writing the review, I forget stuff, like more than I should. I don't know if that's a problem or not, but that's why I like to review like the day of or like the next day. After that, it's like, well, I'm going to have to start skimming a little bit, that way I remember. I know that's probably bad, but so let's go ahead and get going into it. Okay, so characters. To go into all of them would be a ridiculous amount of time, and I really don't want to make this long and drag, so we're just going to go with the main characters. So you had Sophia, who was the ballerina, which, wow, I have never read a book where a ballerina was a character. I wasn't sure how that would go, because I know absolutely nothing about ballet, especially on the very first chapter, actually the first page, like they're on stage and they're doing Romeo and Juliet, which who knew that was a ballet? I did not know. Anyway, and it was beautifully written. It was so poetic and just like there was so much emotion just in the like first page, like, and passion, and it was awesome. Like, it made me want to go online and find like the Romeo and Juliet ballet and watch it. I didn't, but just wanting to, that goes a long way, I think. So the next main character was Gabe, and he was just so sweet and respectful and genuine. Like there was nothing not authentic about him. Like he's, I don't know, and he went through a lot. It was sad, but his faith was definitely something to look up to. I know he's a fictional character, I know, but his faith was something like inspirational, you know what I mean? Like you look at his faith, grieving the loss of his parents and everything, and which that's in the synopsis, so I didn't spoil anything. And you look at that and you're like, wow, I hope, if I were to ever go through something that traumatic, that I would have just a little bit of faith like he had. You know what I mean? Okay, and then the villain. We gotta talk about the villain, guys. So, Dimitri, he had that like professional, like businessman air to him. But man, he is cruel. I mean, I'm not going to go into it. I don't do spoilers on here. But just, he did not care who he hurt, to get what he wanted. I'll just leave it at that. Overall, the characters were phenomenal. They were very well crafted, unique, and I thought they were pretty realistic. I mean, I liked it. There was a lot of emotion that went into this, and I feel that their reactions to what went on in the book was very realistic and believable. Okay, next order of business, the suspense. This is where the story got super interesting. Okay, so the characters I just went into, their lives were so intertwined and linked together in such a way that like I could not wait for like, it's one of those like you want to be a fly on the wall when something goes down. This was how I was during this book, which I was reading it, so I was a fly on the wall, I guess. But it was just so exciting, and I loved it. It was so well done. When it came down to the Christian aspects and messages, they were awesome. Like I said, Gabe, he dealt with losing his parents, so it dealt with going through, grieving for loss of loved ones while still holding on to your faith. Like still clinging to God and, not blaming him and not, going off the rails, I guess you can call it. I don't know. But so that was a huge part, and there was salvation, characters were saved, there was repentance, forgiving your enemies. That was a huge one. Both the two main characters dealt with that, and it was really good because let me tell you, they had some enemies. It was Christ-centered. There were tons of scripture, a lot of praying, all of it. The romance was kept very clean, maybe just a couple kisses, but that's about it. And what I really liked, and what you don't see very much in books today, God was front and center in the relationship, Gabe and Sophia's. Like, because there was also a theme, this goes back with the Christian aspects, but being unequally yoked, one was a Christian, one was not. So, but Gabe, who was the Christian, is the Christian, he was like, even though I have feelings for Sophia, I can't, I gotta keep God first. And if she's not saved, then I can't, we can't be anything more than friends. That was something you don't see in books a lot. So I really did like that. Okay, and when it comes down to it, there were only like 3 things that didn't sit well or I didn't care for. Parts of this were repetitive, especially like the characters were praying. And this was just me personally. I got bored reading like kind of toward the end when everything was going down actually, which I kind of find ironic because I was looking forward to that. And then it's like, well, I'd get kind of sick of reading. Of course, I was on a road trip, 5-hour drive in the back of the car, reading nonstop because I'm like, I'm going to finish this on this trip, which I did. But like, I just got so bored of reading it. So that was me, nothing to do with the book. And the last thing, there was a lot of apologizing. During the course of the book, there were a lot of things, traumatic things that happened, like, loss of loved ones. There were some injuries. Sophia had them, Gabe had them, everyone had them. It was not good. So there were a lot of things that, you would say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened, or, stuff like that. But still, there was a lot of apologizing, especially between Sophia and Gabe. Just, like, it almost seemed like, there wasn't really a point to apologize at some points. Like, she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, don't apologize. And she'd be like, no, really, I'm sorry. And it's like, it's okay. Again, it wasn't horrible. It did not take away my enjoyment. I loved this book. It's just something that I noticed, and it got kind of like, again, that kind of stems off from the repetitiveness, because it's like, let's move on away from here. So, but that's just me. So I'm giving Unknown 4.5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this book so much, and I've been wanting to read this forever, so I am so glad that I finally got a chance to read it. Would I reread this again? Sure, absolutely. For once, it's not a reread, which is nice though. So yes, I would reread this. So yeah, I have book 2. I actually started it like the other day. I didn't get very far because it was 3 a.m, and I was like, I got to get to bed. So that's where I am with that right now. Would I recommend this? Yes. Okay, if you enjoy any of the following, Russian settings, which I didn't really get into that, but it was really cool. I've read one other book that's set in Russia, but this was really neat. It was like more of a contemporary, because the one I read was like a Romanov kind of thing. There's the picture right there. But I really did enjoy this. It was cool. So if you like Russian settings, if you have any interest in ballet at all, if you enjoy good, clean, like suspense and clean romance with uplifting Christian messages and Christ-centered relationships, if you like any of that, you will definitely like this book, and I highly recommend you check it out. And you may be asking, where can I find this amazing book? Well, I will tell you. First of all, it is on Goodreads. You can add it to your to-read list. You can follow the author and check out the rest of her series. You can also check out her website and follow along with her blog and updates and all that. And you can find this book on Amazon and Apple, Nook, Kobo, all like the main places. And the paperback is also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And as always, all the important links are down below in the description. There's her Goodreads page, Amazon, where to find all the links, where to find her book, and all that good stuff that you need to know. Okay, so I mentioned earlier I have like an announcement to share. So I have a blog, a WordPress blog, and for the month of October, I am having like villain interviews, fictional villain interviews. So what it is, I've already gotten in touch with some indie authors, and they have agreed to be interviewed, but they're going to be answering questions from the point of view of one of their villains. It's so cool. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. It's awesome. So that'll take place during all of October, starting on the 2nd, and uploads will be Sunday and Thursday, except for the 13th. That's something different. Anyway, and one of the authors who kindly agreed to participate is none other than Vanessa Hall, who is the author of this book. And she will be answering questions for Dimitri, who's the villain in this book. So if you have any interest in this book, and if you want to dig down deeper into this crazy, really cruel villain's psyche, and get some more information on him, this is the time to do that. So I have the link in the description for my blog if you want to check that out. Subscribe so you get notified for it. And there will be some other familiar authors if you've been following along with this channel, such as Jana Boss, Christina Hall, and Kat M. Turner. So it's going to be a very good time, and I cannot wait for this. Alrighty guys, that is going to close up this review. So again, all the links are in the description if you want to check it out. Highly recommend this book. Until next time, happy reading.